to a great pop culture debate extra. We are doing the Toot and Boot bootleg of Canada's Drag Race episode 1. I'm your host, Eric Rezsnyak, and joining with me are my fabulous guest panelists, Brett Chin.
Hi.
Curtis Creekmore.
Hey.
Kai Nesset-Chin. Let's flip the hair, honey. So, for episode 1, by the way, we are doing this with no budget, no advance notice. We are just fucking winging it because I'm running a Canada's Drag Race pool, and my initial plan was to include the Toot and Boots from Raja and Raven for my point totals for that. And they weren't doing the Canada's Drag Race episode, so I got this panel of amazing homosexuals to be my guest experts. And then, of course, literally right after I asked them all to do it, Raja and Raven decided to start covering the episode. But you know what? These people are really funny and really smart, and they know drag. In fact, 2 out of 3 of them do drag on the side, yes. Brett is Yoko Uh-Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
Curtis is Jolene Sugar Baker Devereaux. And Kai, do you have a drag persona?
I do not, but my husband has enough for both of us.
There you go. And I'm just fat bitch, so that's mine. What was that, Kai? Oh, Kai's currently muted. So yeah, we decided to do it anyway. And with that, we're going to jump into episode 1's runway of Canada's Drag Race. Nobody on this call has actually seen the episode. They've seen the runway, but they have not seen the episode. They don't know the girls. They didn't see, leading up to the challenge. So they are completely unswayed by any opinions. They're just going to tell you whether or not they like, which is to toot, or they don't like, which is to boot, an outfit. And we are going to start with Gale number 1, which is Anastasia Anakwe, also affectionately known as Starzy. So the challenge this time was they were assigned boxes that were themed somehow with Canada. Some of them were province specific, some of them were general Canada specific. Starzy's box was called Canada Gay, and so it was mostly flag related merchandise. And she came up with this. Brett Chin, what do you think? Toot or boot?
Sorry, I toot it. I love the red. It looks expensive. It looks like a Canada Goose jacket that I've always wanted, but it's shiny and I just love. I'm not always a big fan of a leotard, but I do love the jacket and I love her look.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Curtis.
Did she make this?
She did. She did the quilting and everything.
Wow. Okay. Then yeah, like that takes some major skills on a sewing machine. It does look like pre-made. I also don't love a leotard, but if you're spending so much time making something that looks that good and that expensive, then I understand why you would have to go with a leotard underneath. It's picky, but when you can see the control top of the pantyhose, it's a little bit iffy, but I'm gonna go ahead and toot it too because it really does look good.
All right, Kai Nesset-Chin.
Okay, yes, I do like it. I will be nitpicky, and that's only because I love this so much. It does give me I just finished my Olympic event and I have my costume under my jacket and it's a tearaway. I love that. I didn't love the shoes, but the little sock on it, I think makes it really, really work with the outfit. My major critique, and again, I love the outfit, absolutely a toot, is I wish her hair was maybe up in a updo rather than it just seems really flat. And I really think that could have accented the outfit even more, having that silhouette of a big hair on top and then this kind of tube shape with the jacket down. So yeah, it's a toot.
I agree that the socks, the leg warmers, are giving me a flash dance moment, which I'm always living for. Curtis pointed out the control top. I'm never going to turn down a top, whether it's controlled or not. An updo is actually a really smart idea, Kai. It would have kind of the shape kind of gone up because of that cone that hits a point. But overall, I think it's amazing that she made this in basically a day. I think it has by far the most execution of any other looks on this episode. This was actually a safe from the judges, which is shocking to me. This easily should have been top 3. Starzy is our first, I think, robbed queen of the season. But it sounds to me like we have 4 toots. So good job, Anastasia Anakwe. Next up on the stage, we had Kiara. And Kiara's box was Like a Prairie. Brett, what did you think?
I thought it was a boot. I don't like it. It just, I don't know, the grass coming out of it. it just doesn't look well made. And so I understand that they, were making it in the moment, but it just looks cheap to me, and it didn't look well made. So I gave it a boot.
Curtis?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to boot it as well. This is the first time I'm seeing this, so I didn't watch the runway at all. It looks in the same vein of maybe something that like Evie would do. It just looks way too crafty, especially like the skirt, if you can call it that, the fabric that she has just pinned in different places from her crotch. Yeah, it's just not really a cohesive look. She fell into a picnic and got wrapped up, and yeah, boot.
Kai?
Uh, every season they know there's going to be sewing. It might be the first episode, it might be the 10th. I try to think about RuPaul's Drag Race in the first season and kind of give that leeway to this is Canada's first season, but there have been 12 seasons of RuPaul in America and everybody's seen it. So it's kind of hard for me to think that a drag queen would go and not having some sewing skills. It's a corset with straw on it, and I don't like the wig. I did not like that wig. Why did she pick that? I don't know. It's a boot.
It's a boot. Yeah, I'm also going to go ahead and boot this. Agree that it's super Evie Oddly kind of takeoff. If there's one thing that drives me crazy about design challenges on Drag Race, it's when a queen just glues shit to a corset and calls it a look.
Yeah.
That is so lazy to me and shows such little imagination. There's some sad sunflowers just kind of like thrown onto it. That skirt, it's like a Holly Hobby nightmare, and then the top of it, it's like stovetop pipe meets cream of wheat. It's a full-on boot to me.
Just because they give you the straw doesn't mean
exactly.
you have to use it.
You don't have to use it. Exactly. Oh, I think one of the jokes that the judges made was "Scro no, she better don't," and like yeah, like it's no. So it's a boot for me. Sorry, Kiara. Next up to the stage, we have Lemon, whose box was Jock's Scraps in reference to sports in Canada. Apparently, sports are a thing. And Brett, I'm going to throw it to you.
Again, it's just a corset and glued stuff on it. It looks like her underwear doesn't fit very well, and it just looks like I don't know, there's something covering the crotch area. It just doesn't look good to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it's like an anime kind of style thing. I love the anime, but it's not cohesive, and I just don't like it, so I'm booting it. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Curtis, what about you?
She looks like Sailor Boot. Like
Sailor Boot!
It was like an attempt at the Sailor Moon. Like I also appreciate the like anime-ishness of it, but it's just, how long did she take to put this together? It looks like she had 15 minutes to just throw on everything that was in the box and then hit the runway. Like it really does look like she didn't spend any time. I guess all of her time was spent wrapping that hockey stick in pink tape.
Is that hockey stick and pink tape a read on her tuck?
Yes.
I don't know her.
I don't know her life. Kai, how about you?
So I did see this on the runway. I didn't watch the episode, but I saw the runway. My first thought, honestly, was, did something fall off like right before? Like before she got on stage, did something get messed up and she couldn't wear it?
Her taste.
Shade.
And then again, I'll go back to the last outfit here. When you watch this on the runway, it looks like it's falling apart while she walks down the runway. So I don't know what it is. She had the wig and she wanted to use it. So I like your wig, but the outfit is definitely a boot.
Yeah, so Lemon's whole shtick is like anime and yellow. That's her whole thing, which I'm fully into. Pick a lane, stay with it. You're right. I think the hair is the best part of this. My question is, I don't know what she actually made. Like those pads were probably all given to her. She probably found a way to like turn them into a kind of top. But besides that, what is it? The corset, I don't think she made. The stockings, I don't think she made. The ill-considered panties, I assume, are just something she brought with her and would wear under something else. It's just, again, yeah, very little effort is shown here. I'm sure she into it, but we don't see it. So it's
Right.
a boot from me, and this was a B2, bottom 2 look, I think justifiably so.
Hmm.
Moving on, we have Alona Verley, and her box was Muskoka. I can't do the occur thing. I'm not in Edwards. I'm sorry. If I know if someone would like to take that from me, please.
Oh,
Thank you, Curtis Creekmore. I believe this is a reference to Muskogee, which I believe is a province of Canada. I'm sorry, Canada people, please don't hate me. And I think it's a coal community, like a coal mining community, if that helps give some context. So, Gretchen, I'm going to go to you.
It doesn't give me any context, but I was like, I don't. So I'm always for androgyny, different types of drag. Like obviously she's just wearing little pasties, and but I did love the fit of the dress and the shape of the dress. It's like a mermaid dress, so I do love that. I wish that she probably added more fringe to it, like orange fringe around her arms and her dress and everywhere else. And I liked her makeup, and I love the fact that she put the eyes like lower, and so I really appreciated that. So I like it. It's a go for me. It's good.
It's a two. Curtis.
I didn't get coal at all, but when you said it and her hands are black, I mean, that makes sense, but I don't quite understand. Are they zippers? Like zippers all over her?
I don't think so. I think it's just fabric straps.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe Muskogee was the zipper capital of Canada. In any case, it is not easy to make a dress with that kind of fit, so I do appreciate that, and I really love like the shape that it created on her. I'm not a big fan of pasties unless it was Lil' Kim at the 1998 MTV Music Awards.
Legendary.
I mean, that you could have, but this, I'm going to give it a toot just because of everything else that we've seen so far. This is actually elevated above those, but I think she can do better.
All right, Kai, how about you?
Kind of along the same lines, I actually like a lot of pieces of this. I think the neckline that she made, whether the pasties are perfect or not, I love that, and I actually love the dress. And I like gray. I think that looks really good in gray. Her face is beat. I think the wig is appropriate. I just was confused. I didn't understand the concept of it. I think it looked good, and now, like Curtis said as well, with the black hands, I kind of get it a little bit more. But I think she looks great. I give it a 2.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first saw this on the runway, I didn't care for it, and I think it looks better in still than it did live.
I would agree to that.
Yeah, and I think that now that I'm looking at it and I'm able to appreciate it, there's construction there. There's a concept there. There are lines. There is silhouette, and I appreciate all of that because you can see more intention and more actual design with this piece than we've seen in almost any of the other ones that we've seen besides Starzy. So for that reason, I'm going to toot it. I also don't love the exposed pasty boy chest thing for drag. Strictly personal. Everybody has their own thing. But I'm going to put that aside. I think it's a well-made garment from what I can see. I think there's some interesting visual elements to it. The mug and the hair is beat. I mean, she's giving me kind of like Morticia Adams on a,
Yes.
goes on summer holiday. I appreciate it. So it's a toot for me. So good for you, Ilona. Next up, we have Kine, who actually won the mini challenge and was able to pick any box she wanted and then assign the rest. And she chose Yukon Gold Digger. Gretchen, it's to you.
Oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. After, I get the gold digger part. I do appreciate that she made this outfit, because it fits her body well, and it looks good for the most part. But these gold balls on the bottom, I'm sorry, like you don't necessarily know how to sew, but you know how to put together and make it cohesive. It just doesn't look good. And then also her makeup, she looked a little cross-eyed to me too. So, so I'm gonna boot it just because I'm not a big fan of these balls on the bottom. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love me some balls, but
Amen.
Not these gold ones.
Not on your feet.
No.
Listen, don't yuck my yum, Brett. I'm just kidding. Curtis, it's you.
Ew. So I want to know how many of those balls fell off when she walked down the runway, because
I can tell you.
Oh, really?
Oh, they were everywhere, and
Like,
they were literally falling off constantly anytime she was on the runway.
You can tell that they were probably just hot glued on, and it makes it so heavy. It's so dragged down to the bottom, and she's so bottom heavy. And it is like the rest of it, the jumpsuit itself it looks well made. It fits her really well. But yeah, the balls are they take away. And balls are never meant to take away from anything. And on top of that, her wig, her hairline is like basically at her eyebrow. She has it so far pulled down. Maybe that's her aesthetic of having a two-head instead of a four-head. But I'm also going to boot it.
All right. Kai, how about you?
Okay. It's Drag Race. You're here. You got to show it. It's the first episode, And again, I agree totally. The bodysuit looks great, and she made it, in a day. That's fantastic. But put some balls in your hair, or put some on your shoulders, or draw balls down your arms, or something. Like this just looks like a rundown Canadian Tina Turner or something. I don't know. Or so for me, it's just a boot. I'm not impressed. There's room for everybody, I guess. I don't know.
I will actually disagree with the panel. I'm going to toot this, but I will say that I agree with everything that you're saying. The balls on the bottom were poorly thought out. They were hot glued, falling all over the place. It was heavy, and she was in the bottom three for this look. However, I think the construction of the garment from the knees up is impressive given the time being. And to me, her bottom three was really more of a dramatic moment for the show than it was justifiable. I mean, this doesn't end up in the bottom, or excuse me, this is in the bottom, but Scarecrow stapled to a fucking corset is fine. I'm sorry, I can't get behind that. And I think they did it because Kine won the mini challenge. She was very big on herself afterwards and kind of obnoxious, and she fully lost her mind backstage after she was in the bottom and others were in the top that she felt was unjustified. So I understand why she was a bottom three look for this, but I personally am going to toot it. Agree. The balls were a bad idea, and I actually love Kai's idea of like if the balls were in the hair or on the shoulders or a corsage, something, it would have really helped tie everything together.
Or like in her mouth, she could have had a gold ball gagged. I mean, anything more would have been nice.
It's a great point. So I'm going to toot it by respect the boots. Except I don't respect her boots. Next up, we have Scarlett Bobo, whose box was Glampede, which is a reference to apparently they have rodeos in Canada, which is a thing that I just found out. So, Brett, I'm going to throw it to you.
I'm saying Scarlett, no. Because it looks like she's wearing a diaper and with the B, and it's a meaty tuck. And just... I'm not all about this, and it just doesn't look well put together because you just literally put some scarves, neckerchiefs together. So I'm booting it.
All right, Curtis.
I'm kind of on the fence. Making chaps probably isn't too difficult. I've never had to do it before, but I mean, you just make pants and then cut part of it away. It definitely does look diaper to me. It at least reads diaper. I appreciate what she was going for with the different handkerchiefs. Pop of color, I liked it, but overall, no. And like, what's on her wrist? It does not go with anything else she's wearing.
Is it peppers? I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know, but
I thought
anyway.
It was like leather fringe, which I guess kind of goes with the rodeo theme, but she doesn't have anything else leather on, so it's not really incorporated. Boot.
Kai?
I feel bad. I know I've been booting a lot. It's the first episode. I try to think about that, but I don't know what this is. This is patchwork. I had a bra and I put some, that concept she was going with the scarves was cool, but it just didn't pan out. I don't know what's happening on the bottom half, and the wig is weird, and I don't know what's on the hat. It's a boot.
She looks like Gina Davis Hooker outside the rodeo.
Who didn't understand hanky code.
How is that not a toot,
Maybe she
Curtis? How is that not a toot? No, but in all seriousness, I think that you guys nailed it on the head. The idea of this is actually really super cool. Making like a cute little crop top out of hankies. It shows people that she's into fisting, piss play. I don't even know what mint green is, but it has to be filthy.
food.
But like the fact that it's tied together, I think that those straps, by the way, are literally just fabric that is sewn into two legs tied together by like thin leather strips at the top. The diaper to me is just unforgivable. And I'm almost never going to be a fan of you throwing just your initial onto anything and being like, it's branding. I actually like Scarlett. I'm excited to see what she does. The mug is beautiful, but it's a boot for me as well.
This wasn't in the bottom.
It was not in the bottom. Nope. Next, we have Jimbo, who got the box Blow It Up, which may have more to it than just, hey, rainbows. But if it does, I don't know the reference. So I'm going to go to Brett first.
I actually really love this dress. It's completely made out of zippers. So I just, I appreciate that and how much time that took. And it, yes, it is kind of a corset-esque, outfit, but since it's completely made of zippers, I truly love it. I wish that she wasn't wearing a little hat for me. I just wish she just had her wig on. But overall, I loved it. I love it. So it's definitely a toot for me.
Curtis?
Yeah, this is stunning, honestly, to be able to make this in what is basically a day. It looks fantastic. It is zippers this time, not looking like zippers. It is a corset, but I mean, some things need a corset. I mean, some dresses that is what it is, and this isn't just like a corset that she's glued things to. It's a corset that she is basically made out of zippers. It looks really cool. I agree with the hat. It's not my favorite choice to go with this. It takes it a little bit too clowny instead of like, I don't know, clown couture. So I'm going to toot based on that.
Kai?
Yeah, this is what I was talking about with the gold outfit as well. I just think she is on the runway and we're remembering her. It's something that she put everything into it. Whether she super glued all those on there, hot glued them all on, or sewed them, I don't care because it's staying together, as she walks down the runway. I do, if I was going to be just nitpicky, I don't love the hair in general. I think the color's great, but I would want to see something a little bit bigger. I love it. I mean, it's a toot. It's a toot. I'd wear it without makeup or hair. I'd just wear the dress.
And you would look amazing in this. Yeah, so Jimbo is a really interesting queen. I had really no expectations for her before the show. She came in a very like black and white, kind of almost like Betty Boop kind of fantasy, and she's weird. She's an odd queen, and she had me from the very beginning of the episode. When she came out on this, I was just shocked because it's so colorful and bright, and it's so complete 180 from what I was expecting. It walked heavy on the runway, but I didn't care because putting all of those colors together in that way that doesn't distract my eye, it all kind of works, but is at the same time predictable. I think she did an amazing job, and I'm really excited to see what Jimbo's going to give us this season. I hear what you're saying on the styling. I think clown kind of is her brand. She is a little bit of a clown, so I don't think she would mind that criticism of the hat. That cheap bow tie, I actually have one of those, so I admire the fact that she was ballsy enough to wear that. But to me,
Party City realness.
Party City realness. Eat your heart out, Sharon Needles. It's a full-on toot for me, so well done, Jimbo. Next up, we have Tainomi Banks, and Tainomi's box was Lumberjanes, as a reference to Canada's vast, burly army of lumberjacks, and I'm going to need a moment, so take it, Brett.
I'm kind of on the fence with this look. Well, the first thing I noticed, I thought it was sock monkeys because of the socks. It's the same. I was like, oh, sock monkeys. I do like it, actually. I mean, I'm always a big fan of flannel. Look at my husband right there wearing flannel. So I am a big fan of flannel, and I do like the look, and I know I think it's cohesive to me, and so I like it. So I'm going to toot it.
All right, Curtis.
I like it too. As I look at it more though, the blue part, the fabric, it really does look like she just wrapped it around herself, and that's kind of unforgivable. You look like you just wrapped a bed sheet around you. Like I love all the other pieces. I love that sock monkey type. Like it looks like she was going for mink stole like piece. I don't know if that's what the intention was, but that's what I'm reading it as, and I like that part. I love the hair, I love the mug, and I love the flannel, but I don't know if I can get over a hemless sheet. So sorry, boot.
All right, Kai.
Yeah, you can see the hemlines, which is I mean, I'm not a sewer. I just, that's the first thing I saw when she walked out, was because it's flowing and you could almost see strings hanging off the end of the hem. I just wanted her to take it off. I was thinking she was going to take it off. I probably would have liked it more if she had walked down without it. Just completely lost it. She can keep the socks. I think that was great. It's giving me a little Mercedes Amon Diamond feel. But I'm going to give it a 2. She looks good. You know, sometimes just before you leave the house, you just take something off. She didn't.
In this case, her bed sheet. Yeah. The hems is an issue. Derek Barry is shook. She's somewhere quaking looking at this. I'll tell you what I saw when this first came on the runway, and this is a deep dive, but season 6 first design challenge, April Carry-On got the Duck Dynasty box, and this is real similar to that look. And so to me, it was a little too referential for my taste. Although that said, if you're going to rip off a drag queen, April Carry-On is one you should rip off because she's far fiercer than we give her credit for. I wish I could know what is underneath this sheet. It's a very dramatic cover, and I think it's effective in that way. But I wish I know, is that a skirt underneath it? Is it a high-waisted short? Is it a tube top that pairs with it? Because that sounds really cute to me. But I don't know, and that's a problem with presentation. And by the way, we'll get to this in a minute, but presentation was hugely important on the runway judging. The 3 queens that did the best were the ones that really came out there and put on a show on the runway. They weren't so much looking for excellent design as they were looking for excellent presentation. And I feel like Tainomi kind of missed the boat by having this dramatic flowy cape and not taking it off and showing us what was underneath. So for that reason, I'm gonna boot it, even though it could very well be a fully tootable look. I don't know. All right, so next up on the main stage, we have BOA, which stands for Bitch on Arrival. And her box was Man of Green Gables, which is a takeoff of Anne of Green Gables, which I honestly did not realize was set in Canada until this episode. So TV is both educational and fun. It's funcational. Brett Chin, what do you think of BOA's look?
Noah. No. No. Again, it's just a corset that she glued green bows on, and even the dress underneath it just looks, I don't know, the whole look to me doesn't look good. I do love the hair. I love that it's up, and she's holding a potato?
And just so you know, her headpiece is made out of potatoes, and those things on her chest are also potatoes. So she's serving you potatoes in 3 different ways. It is her tater fantasy.
I do love that, but it's still just a boot, because also the covering on her breast. Yeah, no, I'm not for that. So I'm booting this look.
All right, Curtis Creekmore.
I did not go to Denny's. I did not order the Grand Slam breakfast with potatoes 3 ways. I want to like it. I do, but just like Brett said, it's another corset with things glued on it. And it kind of does look like she at least made the corset. At least it's in a different, it's like in green material. But whatever she's got down at the bottom looks literally like wrapping paper. Like she just took a piece of paper, not even fabric, paper, and wrapped it around herself. Love the mug. Gives me a little bit of Eureka, like big girl realness. And I love potatoes, but I don't love this look.
It's a boot.
It's a boot.
Kai.
Yeah, mug looks good. I honestly got Irish. That's what I thought. She must have had some Irish theme, and then I went, are there Irish people in Canada? I'm sure there are somewhere.
Who can say?
I don't know. Don't email me, Canada.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't like it. The breastplate is weird, and for me, again, it's that hemline. The fabric just looks like bizarre. I don't even get it. It's a boot. I could go on, but it's a boot.
So I'm about to blow your minds. This was a top 3 look.
no fucking way.
Yes, fucking way. And let me explain to you why it was a top 3 look. I mentioned previously that presentation really played a lot into the judging, in my opinion. And Boa went out there and fucking sold this. Boa worked. Boa was hilarious on that stage. And I was really on the fence with her throughout the episode. She came in wearing basically a glamour cow look. She's a very kind of in your face, obnoxious queen, but intentionally so. And I was just like, ugh, this one's going to be rough. But I found her enchanting on the runway. All of that said, I have to boot this. My main issue is the breasts. They drive me crazy. Like, if she took those away, I'm literally putting my thumb over her thing, and it is a lot less irritating to my eyes. I love a concept queen. I love that she went there. She put a lot of effort and thought into this. I love hash browns. I love tater tots. Like, this is really on my alley. But I can't say yes to it when you have that thrown on skirt, which is literally a piece of shiny fabric that's wrapped around her.
It looks like it's tied on the sides. Like she took 2 triangles and tied them. That's what it looks like.
I think that's exactly what it is. I think slapping some green ribbons to a corset, as I've said with Kiara, is just not part of my fantasy. And I understand for everyone watching this, I am not a drag queen. I have never been on Drag Race. I have not had to sew a garment. But I'm not a drag queen on Drag Race. And if I was, I would know how to fucking sew a garment. So for that reason, I'm going to boot Boa. But again, totally sold me on the runway. And I'm really excited to see what she's bringing to this season. Next up, we have Juice Box. And her box was Much Music Video Prance. And I'm sure I just said these words to you, and you're all like, what the fuck does that mean, Eric? So Much Music is basically Canada's version of VH1. So it is basically pop girl fantasy. That's her box. So with that said, Brett Chin, I'm going to throw it to you.
There's no pop anything in this. Like, I don't get the look. The proportions are wrong for me. It's too short for me. I don't like it at all. I kind of get the theme possibly, but and the braid, I guess, or whatever it is in the middle, it just takes away. I don't know. I have to boot it. It's not good to me at all.
All right, Curtis Creekmore.
I have that. If I have that, and no, this is actually one of the worst ones, I think. It looks like just 2 pieces of fabric that she glued shards of glass to, which is never really encouraged to my knowledge. That's a man,
CDs.
Maury. That's a man. Like,
yeah. So it's not glass plate. She took
CDs.
CDs and she cut them up and made kind of like a mosaic thing on it.
Kinda. I mean,
Kinda.
This is a big no. The mug looks, it just reads very man with makeup on. I don't see drag queen, and I don't see female illusion. I just see man with makeup, and the outfit is pretty unforgivable. How many times did you see her tuck as she walked on?
She was presenting. It was fuck everlasting. So yeah.
I'm gonna give a poot. This is a poot to me.
Okay, we have a poot. That's new. We'll figure that out.
And mine is a purse with cookies in it.
Kai Nesset-Chin. Yeah, definitely a boot. I'm just so confused. I guess if you tell me this is a top 3 look, I think I might vomit all over this. If this is where you're going with this, Eric, this reminds me of last season, and I can't remember her name, but she was the one everyone was picking on. She was goth. She didn't go home right away.
Aiden.
Yes. This feels like the episode where she made that umpire or referee, and they're like, "Yeah, girl, that's fine. You don't need to add anything more. No, that's good. You're perfect. Go take a nap." That's what it feels like to me. Like she had in the back, she had someone literally pin it before she walked on stage with a single safety pin, because that's all it would require to hold that onto her body. Boot.
Yeah. So no, this was not a top 3 look. This was in fact a bottom 2 look. this look did get her sent home. We can go into that after we finish going through the rest of them. As soon as she walked out on the stage, I was like, oh boy, that is far too short. And really that I think was the unforgivable sin, was that you could see all her between me down there's is the taking the CDs and turning it into kind of like I think one of the judges described it as like disco Pebbles Flintstone. Like the idea again is solid, but the execution is so unforgivably weak. And for that reason, it's a definite boot. So Juice Box is our pork chop of Drag Race Canada. Moving on, we have Priyanka, whose box was Gone Fishy, which is a reference, I'm assuming, to Canada's seafood empire. So Brett, to you.
I'm all about nautical. I'm a Cancer. I love the water. So, but this, again, it doesn't look like she spent much time on the outfit. It just looks like bad formed underwear. I'm not really feeling the sash thing. It kind of is taking away. I understand like the little pearls. It looks supposed to look like bubbles, but it just looks like she threw it on and last minute and like, oh, I need a net. I need something else. So it just doesn't. It's not working for me. I can't quite see her shoes. It looks like there's something on her shoes as well, but it just doesn't look like she spent much time making this. So I'm booting.
I'm going to tell you what's on the shoes. She has crabs that are stuck to the back of the shoes. That's what's going on there. And in fact, at one point, one of the legs falls off and she picked it up and kind of ate it on the runway. So that's that. All right, Curtis, to you.
If only she could eat the rest of it.
Oh,
if you hadn't told me that this was nautical, I would have thought that she was representing America. Like this reads very USA to me because of the red, white, and blue and the stripes. Everything Brett said, it just looks so underdone, like she barely took any time to make it. And it's just a bra and panties with a sash. She's a sad American Girl Scout. So boot.
Kai Nesset-Chin.
I have a feeling you're going to say this one is one of the top 3 looks. I hope not. I don't know. It's just so little. And again, I just feel like your number one thing, your first runway on Drag Race needs to be, look what I can do. And this says I can put a cloth over my shoulder and wear a bikini. So I think the face looks good. I think she's actually a gorgeous drag queen.
Gorgeous.
But yeah, I guess I feel like I'm tearing them up. Sorry, girls. It's a boot. It is a boot.
So this is not a top 3 look. It was a safe look. I'm a little bit torn on this one because I actually think she did a great job with the accessories. I think the ropes around the wrists are really cool. I think what she was doing with the hair is really interesting. The shoes were hilarious with the crabs on the back. I think she did a good job kind of decorating the looks. And I'm making this assumption, I don't know this to be true, but my assumption is the sash is a reference to an Indian sari to reference her culture, but I don't know that. That's how I read it. And then you have the net, which I love the idea of, but it's kind of a net Botticello. Like it's just, it's not enough. The look is, I wish she'd spent more time on conceptual garment and less time on festooning it with lots of little things. But I don't hate it, but I don't love it. And I think Kai's point is well taken. Your first runway on Drag Race, give me something that's going to really stand out. It's interesting how few girls made any attempt at doing a gown. Most of it is bra, panties, or a corset, and I expect more.
It would have been so easy to make that net into a gown that you could, really just drape yourself more with it instead of just that little like side satchel thing, like bringing it all the way around your legs and make a full like beautiful gown. I would have actually probably tooted it if that were more, but it's just panties.
Yep. I agree. If the bottom had more thought put into it, it would have been, if not a 2, to me, it would have been one of the strongest looks. Mm-hmm. Like the top from the stomach up, I actually think she looks great. I think Priyanka is probably the most gorgeous queen of this season. And I'm really excited to see what she brings. But this was not a terrific first step, crabs or not. And then finally, coming to the stage, we have Rita Baga, who got the box Quebecois. I don't know what the fwad means. If someone does, please tell me. Okay, thank you. She is a a Montreal queen. She is, I believe, French is her first language, and I'm going to send it to Brett.
So that makes a little bit more sense, like knowing that it's representing like cold. Um, I love the cover, and I love the hair piece too, and I love everything about it. But then when she took the top off, there should have been a better reveal or something better than that blue thing that it looked like she basically tied to herself. And so with that, I have to boot it because that dress thing is not excusable. I can't get by it, but I do love the top part. I think the top part is gorgeous.
All right, Curtis.
I'm actually going to toot it because I do love the top part too. It looks very well done. It looks interesting. It looks almost like Native American, but I mean, there are Native Americans in Canada as well, since it's all North America. Native Canadians, I suppose. It gives me that feel. I love the headpiece. The blue undergarment is definitely like, that's pretty sad. And obviously she spent a lot of time making the cover up, and she probably should have just kept it on, but I like it that much that I'm at least gonna toot it.
All right, Kai.
Yep, I'm gonna toot it. I do not like the outfit underneath, but when I talk about walking out on stage and going, oh my gosh, I mean, I didn't even know those were mittens around her neck. I thought that was, some sort of fabric she made, and way to use it. And this is a way too that if you're going to have a big piece of fabric and you're going to use it, this is how you do it. It looks like it's layered. It looks like it's, someone made it. And I actually really liked the hands. When she took it off, she had red hands like they were frostbitten. And I thought maybe a better way she could have done it is had a muff that wasn't working properly or something. Then she could have kept the coat on and then showed us those hands, because I actually thought that was a nice detail. But the other side of it is when you do come out in something so stunning like that, and just like, especially after all we had seen, to take it off and go, oh, she's just like the rest of them, was hard to take. But I'm going to toot it for sure. I mean, just in comparison to the others alone, but also because I do love that top coat.
Yeah, and it really is a tale of two titties, isn't it? Because the top look is really strong, and she came out and she threw it off about halfway through. Again, great runway presentation, right? Threw it off. What you didn't see from here is in that kind of like next to her neck where there's a little bit of a ruffle, she had hidden a bag of cheese curds, and then she was eating those out of her neck piece, which I'm always toot a queen that's eating cheese.
I love cheese.
I love cheese. It's a win for me. A Dairy Queen, I'm into it. But so to me, I will toot it. This actually was the winner of the week. She won the week's episode. And for me, it's one of those situations where I'd like to keep it on, please. I wish that the top had stayed there. So for me, Rita is not only the winner of the episode, but a toot. So those are our toots and boots, everyone. I want to thank my panels. I'm going to go around real quick and see what your top toot of the week was. Brett, for you, who was it?
My top would be Starzy.
All right, Curtis.
Rita.
All right, Kai.
Rita Baga.
And I'm also
right when she walked out.
I'm going to also go with Starzy. So we're 50-50 on top toots. We will figure out how that works because I don't know. But I thank you, everybody, for watching our little video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I think we're going to do this for episode 2 if my panelists don't mind. So thank you for tuning in. And we will be with you next week, earlier than this one, I hope, and have our toots and boots for episode 2 of Canada's Drag Race. And this is the part where we would dance if there was a theme song. So thanks, everybody. Bye.
Au revoir.